Hello there, my friends. It's Cassie, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm a guest with Trinity Stamps for a video hop, and they are celebrating a birthday, celebrating 2 years in business. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be using today for this hop. I have this brand new adorable stamp called Just For You. Isn't that gnome adorable? Yes, and it does have a matching die. I don't have the die, but there it is. She's so cute with all of her little presents. We're also going to be using the Sweet Surprise stamp set. I've used this a few times, so this isn't new. You guys have seen this on my channel. We're also going to be using some Slimline products. This is the Slimline Scenic Borders, and then we're going to be using the Slimline Stitched dies. And then we're also going to be using this matching die set. That's the Sweet Surprise matching die. Forgot to mention that. And then we're going to be using the Slimline envelope, which y'all know I love. We also have some embellishments and the tidy tray. So the one embellishment is called the Rainbow Sugarshock, which is the rainbow and white sprinkle. And then the other one is like almost like a glitter confetti kind of thing. So let's get started making the card. I just have some white cardstock. This is some Nina Classic Crest cardstock. I'm going to use the stitched Slimline die, the biggest one in the kit or the set, and I'm going to cut that out 3 times. So for this first one, I'm going to use an ergonomic brush, and I'm going to blend some twisted citron all over that background. I like using the ergonomic brush just because it does a really great job of blending, and I can do it really quickly, and it's softer on my shoulder when you're talking about this much space to cover. So I'll just finish that up. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to take the grass border from the Scenic Borders die, and we're going to cut that out. We're actually going to cut it out about 3 times. So I'll run this through my die cutting machine, and then we'll have 3 of those because we want to layer those up. I'm also going to take the cloud border from the Scenic Borders die, and we're going to cut that out of one of our other stitched dies that we did. We're going to cut that out 3 times. And then we'll take our final one, and that'll be our base. I want to add a little bit of variation to this, so I've got a blender brush, and I'm just going to blend on some Mowed Lawn. These are Distress Oxide inks. And then I'll just put that all around the edges. And the reason I cut it out of the stitched die first is because I wanted that stitching all around the borders on all of it. And this was the easiest way to line it up. Because these are obviously going to, we're going to layer them up pretty well. Now for the clouds, I'm not going to go right onto the cloud itself. I'm going to go a little bit below that, and we're going to start with our first color, which is Squeezed Lemonade. I just want it to look like the color is coming up from the grass almost, and so I'll grab a blender brush and we'll do that with this one. And I'm cleaning off my brushes in between, but I'm just trying to make sure that that's going to show just a little bit of color. It doesn't need to be a lot. And then our next one is going to be some Dried Marigold. So I'm just lining that up to see where I want that color. And I like it because it makes it look like the color is behind the clouds. And the clouds are still a good white. Our next one will be Spun Sugar. So it's a very light pink. And on my camera, you almost can't see it. But it's there. And so I'll just keep adding that until I'm happy. I started pretty low to bring up the color so it was lighter that way. And then our final color, which is going to go on our base, is going to be some Worn Lipstick. So it looks pretty dark there, but you're not going to see that much of it because the clouds will mostly cover. But there you go. That's how our scene is going to look all over that background. Now I had this idea in my head, and you know how sometimes the idea is just better in your head? I feel like this might have been one of those situations, but I went with it anyway. So I've got some glossy accents, and I'm putting that all over the grass. And then I'm going to take that chunky glitter, green glitter, and I'm going to put that all over the bits of the grass at the top. And it kind of makes it so that it loses the grass look to it almost, but I decided to just go with it. I kind of like it. It gives a little bit of extra sparkle. And so I'll just go ahead and do it on the rest of them. As you can tell, I made quite a mess all over my glass mat already. When creating, right? But that tidy tray is awesome because, and I'll show you after I'm done here, it made the cleanup super easy. All right, so we've got our second one. We're just trying to tap off as much of that as possible. And then we'll do the final one. I should have done maybe a lot less of the glossy accents, just barely any of it. That would have made it so it might not have chunked up so much. But in all honesty, now that I'm looking at the finished card, I really do like it. I think it looks pretty good. It's different. So here we go. That's how that chunky glitter looks. And then it just easily pops back in there. Now you'll notice, because of the static of glitter anyway, there's a lot in there. And I'm trying to use my finger, and then I thought, why are you doing that? Just use an old brush. So using a paintbrush, I can easily just kind of sweep the rest of that out of there. And then you don't have any problem with regular embellishments. All right, now we're going to move on to our coloring. I've started off with some E00, and we'll color all of her with that. And then I'll bring in some E11 for my darker shade. And it's not real drastic. I didn't really want it to be. So I'll just blend that out just a little bit, and then we'll move on to her her cheeks. This you couldn't even see. I put in the R11 and it was completely pointless because you really couldn't see it. For her hair, we're going to use some E27 and E29. So I'll just color in her cute little braids, which is fun. You could, go really crazy with skin tones and hair, and you can have all kinds of fun with that. I didn't go too crazy with the detail here, but I am going to bring in that E29 just to add a little bit of shading on her hair. And I'm not even going to blend it out. I'm going to keep that fairly harsh just because I didn't bring in any other colors. Then we'll move on to the presents. So, and I'll put this color up on the screen here in a second. I thought it was up there, but you couldn't see it. So we're going to use RV63 as our base color, and then V05 as our next color. And then we'll just keep coloring presents, and I'll put those up on the screen. But big, huge congratulations to Trinity Stamps for 2 years. It's an exciting business, and, y'all know I really do love the stamps over there at Trinity, and a lot of the dies and the embellishments. It's a fun company, great people, so definitely want to hop along. I'm going to have all the details and the next person you're going to hop to down below. This is going to go on for a few days, but I'm day 2. I'm on day 2. So yeah, we'll have all those details down in the description box, so be sure to head there. We're going to bring in this pink color for our reds. I know it seems kind of interesting to bring in some RV13, and then I'm going to bring in some R35, and I will darken it up later because I decided this just was a little too pink, not quite dark enough for what I wanted. But so far, that's cute. And I will blend that out just a little bit so that it's not quite as harsh on there. I don't blend it out when I bring in the R37. We'll use some T1 just for a little bit of shadowing and shading on the white parts. And then we'll bring in some Y35 and Y38 for the present. And you can notice that I clearly didn't care about the dots because I'm going to use my gel pen there. I know I don't always typically bring in a gel pen, but in this instance, it worked great. So I'm just adding a little bit of highlighting here and there. I did on her nose because her nose would probably stick out just a little bit. And I'm going to put some on her hair as well. And I did the dots on the present. And there you go. And now we'll move on to coloring our little cupcake. Now this is going to be super, super subtle because I want this to be in the background. It's just a part of the background. I'm imagining my scene is going to have my little gnome as a tiny little person, and this cupcake, maybe it's a giant cupcake, or maybe it's just a regular size cupcake and my gnome is just that tiny. I don't know. So it's going to be very subtle colors. Obviously you can hardly see the color of the frosting that I did, which was some, I think YR30 or YR31. Anyway, it was up on the screen. And then we're going to use the matching die for that. I didn't have the matching die for my sweet little gnome, but that is available. So I will have that linked down below if that's something you're interested in. Now we're going to start assembling our card base, or our card panel. So we're just going to take each one of those clouds and set that on there. I love how the stitching is going to be cohesive all around, including the clouds. Even those are separate pieces, it adds lots of dimension, and it adds a lot of fun to have that stitched detail. And we're just kind of going along, adding those. And then when it comes time to put down our grass, I'm only going to put down the first one, simply because I know that there's going to be a lot of dimension with that glitter. So here we'll put down our first one. And I want that cupcake to be kind of tucked into the grass, but towards the back and even hanging off the side just a little bit. So I did put some foam tape on that one. Peeled off all the release paper on that. And then we'll stick our little cupcake down. Yes, it is sticking off the side, but I'll fix that later. Our next one will have to be propped up, so I put foam tape on the back of that one as well. But for our final one, we only need foam tape on the very bottom of the card panel that's still showing. So as you can tell, there's still some showing there. So I'll peel off all the release paper, and then I'll put glue on all of the rest of it. And then we'll tack that down to the front. And so now our little scene is almost complete. Now we'll put some foam tape on her because, like I said, that glitter can be a little bit chunky. And then we'll peel off all the release paper on that, and we'll stick this down to the front. She looks so cute, and it looks like she's almost like in a cupcake land. So here I am cutting off the side piece. I like that. I love doing that with my scenes because it makes it look like there's more going on outside of the scene. I just had to bring in those rainbow and white sprinkle, rainbow Sugarshock, and I put those on my cupcake because I thought those would be fun little sprinkles for that. And here's where I decided to darken up her hat just to kind of match the rainbow a little bit more. So she didn't look so pink, she looks a little bit more red. So I'll use my jewel picker and my glue, and we'll just attach no attacking. We'll attach down our sprinkle mix, and I just think that's super, super fun. And once again, super easy to put it all back in the bag. All right, now we have to stamp our sentiment, and I'm telling you, I'm in that camp of I can't cut my stamps apart. I know some of y'all can, and I know some of y'all can't, like me. And I just am on that side of can't cut them apart, and it physically makes me cringe when I see people do it. Like, good for you that you can. I think that's wonderful. But I can't do it. I cannot do it because I'll never get it lined up straight again. I just won't. I know myself. So what I do is I'll take my stamp and I will just kind of take my block even. It doesn't even have to be all the way across. And I'll just line it up and just ink up the one part that I do want. That's the beauty of clear stamps. And then I'll clean it off really, really good. And then I'll do the exact same thing for the other side. And that way I can have my sentiment in 2 separate strips that I need, just like that. So we'll pull in our guillotine trimmer, and we're going to trim those down, just lining things up with that clear plastic part. And we're going to trim them all down pretty much the same. And 2 of those will go, the happy birthday will go on the outside, and then the other sentiment will go on the inside. For our card base, I just have some more white cardstock, and I am going to score this at 3.5 inches. So I cut this to be 7 inches by 8.5 inches. That is the size that I found that works perfectly for the envelope die. And sorry we're out of focus here, but I inked up my little gnome once again with some worn lipstick, stamped her on the inside, and we're going to attach our sentiment down that says it's a day for cake with extra sprinkles, which I think most days are. So is that just me? No? Anyway, all right, now we'll attach our panel down to our card base, and there might be a slight white border just all the way around, which is kind of cool. So we'll just attach that down, and then we're going to attach our sentiment down. We could have put some foam tape on it, but I decided to attach it just with some liquid glue. And it has a little bit of a slanted edge to the one side, which is kind of fun. So that is going to do it for that. But here's our envelope. Love this stuff. I made this with the Tonic Blush Heartbeat specialty paper, and I love that die. It's so great. All right, so here you have it. We are done with our card, but like I said, this is a part of a video hop, so you need to go hop around. The person after me will be listed down below, along with any other details for the hop. If you liked this video, please be sure to like it and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I typically have 3 to 4 videos a week, and I would love it if you kept coming by. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you very soon in another video. Happy hopping!